Hello, everyone. This is Phil Johnson, and with me today is Sherry Welsh of SherryWelsh.com. Sherry's an author and a leadership coach who works with professionals, both individuals privately and with groups within companies. And her book, Slowing Down: Unexpected Ways to Thrive as a Female Leader, is available from any major book retailer. Sherry, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, Phil. Great to be here.
Sherry, as we're beginning today, I want to comment on a little bit of overlap that we're going to be seeing from podcast to podcast here as we're introducing different scenarios and seeing how those scenarios interplay with the principles of energy leadership and also how they interplay with the internal barriers to optimal performance, the external barriers that we've talked about. Our lives are interconnected, so these scenarios are also going to be interconnected. Issues in one area are going to affect other areas of our lives as well. So last time you introduced a common scenario where often we accept meeting invitations without really thinking about how relevant they are to us or if we really need to be there. And before we know it, it feels like our calendar has kind of taken over our life. And this week we want to move on to another common area of overcommitment, and that is overcommitting to colleagues and to our bosses. Can you introduce that topic for us?
Sure, absolutely. So one thing that I continuously run into when I'm working with different clients and teams inside companies is the belief that they want to be a team player, so they gotta participate in all of these activities and all of these meetings. They don't want to miss anything. They don't want to be seen as not participating, not being part of the team. And what ends up happening is they're overcommitting themselves. They're overcommitting their time, their energy levels, and their ability to focus on what's truly important given what they're up to, given the position that they're filling in that particular company, and given what they want to experience in life, right? So just as you mentioned, our lives are interconnected. We're not two different people. We're not robots where we turn off and turn on based on personal and professional life. So what ends up happening as we say yes too often to a colleague or to a boss in the belief that we'll be seen as a team player that way, and that we're always willing to take on something and we're always willing to engage, then the day goes by, meeting after meeting, activity after activity, and before you know it, you didn't get done what you really wanted to get done. That's part of your basic role. And you spent the day taking care of others. So you move into your level 4 energy, which feels good. So it feels good to be a team player. It feels good to engage and participate.
Just recap for us for a moment, level 4.
Yeah. So level 4 is the caregiver energy. That's the energy that has you want to take care of others, that has you want to be of service to others. It has you want to make things easier for others. It's a loving energy that's full of compassion, concern for others. But what happens with level 4 is when you give so much to others, you're losing sight of what's important for you to focus on, to have you be your optimal contributor.
Okay.
In all aspects of life, right? So level 4 is in between 3 and 5, and we talk quite a bit about level 5. That's really an ideal spot to be in throughout the day when you're in a business environment and in a family dynamic.
That's the true partner energy.
Correct, the true partner, where it's really, you're operating, you're coming from a position of this is beneficial for me, but it's also, I see how it benefits you as well. So if we take a minute on that, level 3 is taking care of yourself to get a job done. It's being very clear, very focused, very logical. This is what we need to do. This is the plan. Just do it. right? The old Nike slogan that we talk about.
Sure.
So just do it. Well, level 3 is not considering how what you're doing can benefit others and really enhance others to learn and perform better as well. That's level 5, the true partner. So the difference between 3 and 5 when you're functioning is 3 is going to drain you a bit more. It's not as anabolic. It's not as inspiring and uplifting.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're in level 3, you can get things done. So you'll find that quite a bit in a business environment, that people are operating from a level 3. Engineers, accountants, lawyers are very strong level 3 operators. It doesn't mean they have to stay there, though. Now, when you move from level 3 into level 4, so now you're not focused on just how you can get what you want to get done, but really, how can you help others be successful? How can I be a team player and help others to really thrive? So again, it's a better energy. It's a more powerful energy than level 3.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you use it as a stepping stone to level 5.
Okay.
But if you stay at level 4, you're going to burn yourself out because you're giving, and taking care of everyone else, and you're not getting your work done. You're not benefiting to the utmost level that you can. So that's where, when you're overcommitting to colleagues, when you're overcommitting to your boss, you're saying yes more often than makes sense to, because you want to, one, be liked, you want to do a good job, you want to be seen as a team player, and sometimes you may even have a fear based on a limiting belief that, well, if I'm not a team player, if I don't say yes, I could lose my job.
Right.
So that's when those fears kick in. That's when a limiting belief gets in your head, and you say, well, I got to say yes. Otherwise, my boss may not think I'm a team player, so they may dismiss me. They may exclude me going forward. And then you have the fear of being excluded. And that doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good. So you say yes. All right, I'll do it. And now you're back in level 3, more so than 4. So you're gonna go back and forth with level 3, level 4 when you're trying to please and be a team player out of fear. Okay? When you're being a team player out of, well, it makes sense to participate, and given the goals and objectives that I signed up for and what the team and the business wants to accomplish, I'm on board. Yeah, man, I'll do that. And now you're operating from a more productive level, level 5, even level 6 engagement. When it's clear you're participating because it makes sense for all of you.
Yeah. So help us navigate this a little bit.
Yeah. So what happens in this? So I have a client scenario that I had last week, where the person wants the team to be successful, and they're a participant in this team. The boss comes to this individual and says, look, can you clean up this presentation that this other one submitted, because it's not very clear and it's not as good as you can do it, and we want to present it to the executive team, and we want it to really be successful, right? That you get one shot
Sure.
in front of the executive team. So we want it to work. Well, in that moment, you can accept or decline, and you can accept in 2 ways. You can accept out of fear or rationalization that, well, I have to do it because no one else can do it like I can, so it has to be me, which is level 3,
Mm-hmm.
and you get it done. Or you can accept out of really a true level 5, level 6 space. Level 5 being to your boss, being, you know what? I want my boss to be successful, and it will benefit her and benefit me if I can work on this and take care of it for her. So the energy level you're bringing into it is going to be much more effective. You're going to get it done faster.
Right.
Versus sitting there with a level 3 energy, kind of a little bit frustrated, a little bit level 2 kicking in, but level 3 getting it done because you believe you have to.
Now, how do you communicate that?
It's a mindset. So it's your thought process of when your boss asks you to do it in the first place. How you see this as an opportunity for a mutual benefit, or if you see it as a additional task that's a burden.
Yeah.
So this is what this work that I do as a coach with individuals is I help them see that they always have a choice in any request that's given to them, how they want to handle it. So it's a moment by moment understanding of, okay, what is good about this request that my boss has given me versus how can I see this as a problem?
Right.
So any request you're given from a spouse, from a boss, from a colleague, you can see as a level 5 opportunity response or a level 3. Okay? And you can always go to a level 1 or 2, obviously.
Right.
Where, it's your boss, you have no choice, you have to do it, so you're a total victim. That's a level 1. Most professionals are not going straight to level 1. They only go to level 1 when they're in a low point, they're physically worn out, they're tired, they're depleted.
Yeah.
So instead of going to level 3, they go to level 1. But under normal conditions, you're going to respond to a request from your boss or a request from a colleague from either a level 3 mindset or a level 5.
Yeah.
And it's always possible that it can be either one. Right? So if you recall when we first talked about the 7 levels, we fluctuate throughout these 7 levels throughout the day.
Right.
So at any moment you can respond to a request from your boss from a level 3 mindset, energy level, or you can come at it from a level 5. And it may vary the next day. Same boss, similar request, right?
Right.
But you're in a different space. You just are running meeting to meeting. You're a little worn out. You're a little frustrated because something happened at home before you left. So your boss comes to you with a request, and you drop down to level 3.
Yeah.
Or even level 1. You just do it because you think you have to. Or level 3. Well, you do it because it just it makes sense. You can get it done, and you'll take care of it. But you always have the option to do it from a level 5 perspective.
That's the learning process of how to apply this.
It is. It's an experiment always, right? But it is a constant evolution of really engaging with others more effectively. So it's understanding these 7 levels in a way that you can apply them to any scenario. So I know we're giving different scenarios in these podcasts. And the idea is these are just examples that I've experienced with some clients. And there's there's unlimited number of scenarios. But the idea is that over and over with different scenarios, you're going to start to see how these energy levels can show up, how you can get more awareness that, I think I'm feeling a level 2 right now because I'm pretty frustrated. And I'm feeling like I'm pushing, that I'm fighting against my calendar, I'm fighting against time, I'm fighting against my team.
Right.
So you're going to start to notice the language. And as you work with others, and when I work with teams, I love working with teams because they all get to speak this language of the different levels. And they start to recognize it in each other. And so they can be more supportive, like, hey, it seems like that's a level 2 going on right there. What's going on with that? How can I help you?
Yeah.
Versus getting down into fighting with them and staying in that conflict.
So, Sherry, quickly, as we're kind of wrapping up today's podcast, I'm wondering if you can give some examples of how this communication might play out, both in a negative sense and in a positive sense.
Yeah, so when we're finding out that we've spread ourselves too thin, right? That we've overcommitted ourselves.
Yeah.
Either with colleagues or bosses or with anyone, our spouses, kids, that as we start to notice that okay, I'm feeling at the effect of my calendar, I'm feeling at the effect of others. What you can do is speak up when someone says, hey, Sherry, can you help me with this? And what I've learned to do is before I say yes, which was always my default response, now I say, you know what, thanks for asking. Let me check my calendar, let me think about it for a minute, and I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you shortly, I'll get back to you by the end of the day, I'll get back to you tomorrow. Whatever makes sense given the magnitude of the request.
So that's actually a literal slowing down, even slowing down your response.
It is, exactly. It's putting space in between your immediate default response, which is typically yes, to allowing it room to breathe, allowing some clarity to set in so that you're not in that overwhelmed state when you default to yes. Because when you're in overwhelm, when you've spread yourself too thin and another request comes in, you're going to fall down into level 1, level 2 response.
Yeah.
So you're either going to say yes out of victim energy, or you're going to say no out of fighter energy, right? And neither of those are real productive.
Right.
So instead of constantly saying yes, what I've learned to do with my coach is to really practice saying, you know what, thanks for asking, let me get back to you on that, and just give it a little space. You can also add, when it's your boss, you know, I see how important this is for you. Let me see what I can do. Let me see how I can move around my schedule so I can allow time to work on this for you.
Yeah.
That's a way of taking ownership of your calendar, ownership of your life, to slow it down, to see whether this new request that's just come in fits or not. And if it doesn't fit, that you respectfully and professionally go back and say, you know what, it doesn't fit for me right now. Or, you know what, I'm not able to provide you support in this moment. Who else can you ask? And sometimes you might even recommend somebody else that could do it for them. So that you're not just saying no and being difficult or being seen as stubborn or being seen as a non-team player, but really you're saying, you know what, no thank you. I'm not able to help you with that right now, but I have some ideas of who may be. Or ask the person, you know what, who else comes to mind that could help you, given that I'm not available. And so you act as an adult, a professional, mature adult, instead of sometimes a scared child.
Right. I suppose if someone is coming to you in a level 3 energy, I just need to get this done, you're the best person for it, do this, and you take that time to slow down and think about it, and you're in level 5 partnering energy, level 6 visionary energy, you may come back to them with a suggestion that they haven't even thought of.
Exactly. You got it. Because you're allowing creative space to come in your level 6, right? By slowing down.
Right.
That's exactly how it works.
Well, Sherry, this has been another really interesting scenario, kind of, I would say, an expansion or a broadening of the discussion in our previous podcast about calendar overwhelm. And I think as we continue to talk about more scenarios and continue to bring in the energy levels and the interconnectedness of so many different things that are going on in our lives, we'll begin to see more and more how useful this matter of energy leadership can be to us. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you again, Phil. I really enjoyed it myself.
And I hope that you all will come back and join us again for our next discussion. For Sherry Welsh today, this is Phil Johnson. Thank you for listening.